So it's day 97, week 14 of President Trump's 4 to 6 week war in Iran. Despite American military dominance, it feels like Iran is starting to gain the upper hand in some negotiations. How on earth do we get to this situation? First of all, let's look at the ceasefires that are meant to be in place across the region. Ceasefires traditionally a chance to clear the battlefields and then allow meaningful negotiations without the fog of war around. But whether you're in the Lebanon or in parts of the Middle East, it feels like there's a very kinetic war going on. So will the latest ceasefire that's been actually negotiated between Lebanon, America and Israel actually deliver results this time round? You'll notice Hezbollah was not involved in those conversations. Well, it's not the first time that there has been a ceasefire announced. The challenge, of course, with all these initial ceasefires, despite the rhetoric, it does feel like war was still raging on the ground. That led to Iran turning around and losing patience, telling America, we're not going to negotiate anymore until you put a meaningful ceasefire in place. Given President Trump's urgency of getting a deal, that apparently led to a very heated conversation between Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu. The corollary of that is the 4th of June conditional ceasefire that has now been put in place today. The challenge, of course, is that Hezbollah has actually not agreed to this and actually rejected it almost out of hand. One of the reasons they've done that is that Israel has already moved forces into southern Lebanon, up towards the Litani River, and is clearly doing actions well beyond that. It's unclear exactly how far north they're planning to go. Hezbollah's turn around and say unless Israeli forces clear completely out of southern Lebanon, they won't agree a ceasefire. That's not going to be agreed to by the Israelis. From the Israeli perspective, there's some hardliners there that are pretty clear that they don't want a ceasefire. They'll accept it, providing that any transgressions by Hezbollah, however small, will be met with a really robust action on behalf of the Israeli Defense Forces. All of that feels like, at face value, this is destined to fail. The big so what, the big but that falls from that is that if President Trump genuinely believes that we're on the cusp of actually getting a deal done, creating a window of opportunity, however small, when both sides stop fighting, that will enable peace talks to resume and potentially get it over the line, is worth pursuing. Of course, one of the challenges of all of these reports is we tend to focus on the tactical details. Let's zoom out a bit. On the 28th of February, President Trump unleashed a war against Iran. America, a superpower, fully expected to defeat Iran in a matter of days, maybe weeks, and with leaving Iran with very limited negotiating opportunity. The challenge, of course, is that military dominance has not actually translated to strategic success for America. We find ourselves in this situation today when, if America strikes Iran, whether it's Strait of Hormuz or nearby, Iran immediately responds, not only attacking American infrastructure, but also its Middle East neighbours. Why is it doing that? Because it knows full well that Kuwait and the other Middle East countries will immediately be on the phone to President Trump, urging him to get a peace deal together. And this is all part of Iran's strategy. Rather than they've shifted the focus away from nuclear onto the Strait of Hormuz. Remember, Strait of Hormuz wasn't an issue before the war, but now most of the rest of the world wants to get past this global energy crisis and sees opening the Strait of Hormuz as a major priority. And therefore, Iran is successfully isolating America as being the only country that seems to be focused on nuclear rather than resolving the immediate challenge. Of course, where does that leave us today? Well, of course, it does seem increasingly difficult to see how America can extract a positive outcome from this war. There's no doubt there will be some form of framework agreement, some memorandum of understanding, which will get the Strait of Hormuz open. The challenge is, where will that leave Tehran's nuclear ambition and its enriched uranium? It looks like the negotiations around that will take many months, potentially years, probably coming to a conclusion long after President Trump has left office.